Hello and welcome to Restore 2022. As I've said in the past, this is an opportunity for us to be reading together God's Word. And we are in the Gospel of Luke chapter 22. And I hope that you have learned and you've enjoyed reading the Gospel of Luke as much as I have. One thing that is striking about chapter 22 is the significance that Luke puts into preparation. The whole nation is preparing for the Passover. Jesus is trying to prepare the disciples, so he asks Peter and John to go ahead and look for a man who is carrying a pitcher of water. This was a custom normally for men, but it would be not difficult to spot a man that is carrying a pitcher of water, and therefore Jesus is doing this. But also, they had to follow this gentleman, ask where is the guest room that the Lord wants, because the teacher has sent them. And again, it's a little bit like they found the donkey for the entrance in Jerusalem. Here they were led to this large room. Well, the Passover meal was there to be eaten. And again, preparation for this. And the length of this meal, preparation for the Passover meal, just in the back of what they needed to remember their deliverance from slavery in Egypt. The Lord himself is preparing as he's going to Jerusalem. He's preparing the disciples. He's teaching them as they witness the activity of God's enemy. And therefore, the devil, Satan, becomes their enemy as well. The significance of the symbolism in this last Passover meal that he's having with them. The Lord is preparing them as he's explaining them the upside down ranking of the kingdom, about the importance of dependence on God. He's preparing them about the hardships that they are going to be facing now that Jesus is departing from the earth, and how to deal with their fear. What does love and patience and forgiveness look like when Jesus is in the middle of betrayal and mockery and trial? And it is in this upper room that Jesus tells his disciples about what his kingship is all about. Of all four gospel writers, only Luke records the disputes among the disciples in this upper room. Only Luke tells us that Satan is behind Judas falling away and the possible defection of others. Luke, the doctor, the clinician, understands the psychological implications of the disputes and the spiritual implications of temptation. That's why I'm saying this is a chapter about preparations. Because as much as there's preparations going on for the festive activities, there is secret activities happening in the background. And they're so hypocritical, because actually it's totally against the spirit of the celebrations. It's interesting how the chief priests and the officers of the temple guard plotted in the midst of this celebration against Christ, and yet they fear the crowds. They were attentive not to become defiled and therefore miss out on celebrating the Passover, but yet, ironically, they're able to liaise with Judas and go against God's appointed king and his kingdom. Betrayed with one kiss, denied 3 times, trialed in 3 courts. The court of the Jewish and the religious law, which was the Sanhedrin. Then in the next chapter we see that the Jews had a secular law, and this was represented by King Herod. And then finally the Roman law that was with Pilate. But Luke's record stresses out the identity of Jesus as the Messiah. He's the Son of Man, he's the Son of God, but also he's fearless about the testimony, about the truth to his own identity, regardless of the consequences that Jesus is going to be facing. So Dr. Luke clarified who Jesus is and presents his testifying before this hostile environment of the authorities, because he wants the disciples to see this model so they can follow him. And yet Peter, this outstanding disciple, and yet not exempt from testing, highlights the lesson for us to be prepared, to have this adequate spiritual preparation for the times of testing. This warning is clear and timeless, even for us today.